time. We got some holes up in this house. We got some holes up in this house. Hey, there's a little bit of money. Sweet. Okay, I got like $12, $15. Holy shit, thank God. Oh, praise God. Sweet. Stressing out. Gas is $5 a gallon where I live now. It was $3.80 yesterday, so that's fun. Let's do. Bring you with me. Let's listen to Candace.
The top witchcraft, spell casting, it's reserved really for the category of fantasy, right? It's fantasy if they're discussing it, or it's being mocked. Hocus pocus, Harry Potter. What sort of crazy person would believe that ancient pagan practices are still happening in the real world? And maybe in some remote third world village in Africa, but in the developed Western world, the tippity top of government, you would be mad to even suggest it. Even when it's actually in our faces. Take, for example, this recent Paris fashion show collection from a brand known as Materier Bécal. Just so you know, that translates to fecal matter. Wow, must have really been an inspired.
Didn't I tell you guys you should see the fucking craziness of the fashion week this fucking time around?
I think that, these people could be into some dark stuff that would make you, again, a crazy person. What about the much celebrated visual artist to the stars, the Serbian one? She's also an artist to the politicians. She does spirit cooking, literally. That was what was in those emails. Marina Abramovic. She puts on performances in front of the most powerful people in the world. Performances like in 1974, when she sought to, quote, re-evoke the energy of extreme bodily pain using a large petroleum-drenched pentagram, which the artist lit on fire at the start of the performance. Standing outside of the pentagram, Abramovic cut her nails, her toenails, and her hair. When she finished with each, she threw the clippings into the flames, creating a burst of light each time, burning the pentagram, representing a physical and mental purification. That's just, guys, that's just art. Don't you think a step further? No, come on, that's just art.
What the fuck?
And on the matter of science, even when it's in our faces, like when the world's leading nuclear physicists are caught cloaked before a statue of Shiva, stabbing a woman in an occult ceremony for CERN, well, you guys, that's just science. That right there that you are looking at on your screens was science, the best science, the best science from some genius people. And indeed, I would agree that it's modern science. In fact, the entire thrust of what was deemed the scientific revolution, a move away from the natural order of things and towards
There was some stuff in my
rationality,
dirty rag bag.
that began because of a long organized Freemasonic effort to remove humanity from our innate spiritual understanding. Okay. They wanted you to know that you can now ignore your God given instincts. You can set aside your subconscious. That subconscious that comes online and lets you know that something is not right. Yeah, you can just set that aside and trust the experts instead. In fact, the experts constantly reinforce to us that our subconscious is wrong, or it's just weird. And in some cases, it's immoral, it's devilish, even. You want to go see your grandmother while she's dying in the middle of COVID? Satan, you're being guided by Satan. If you don't listen to Dr. Fauci, that's who you're being guided by. Because there's no greater source of authority in their world than the government, which they control. That's the idea. And I promise you on everything, like on everything, that when Savannah, my manager, came down the stairs and delivered the news that Charlie had been shot, I went into my husband's office and I cried and I immediately said to him, he was betrayed. Charlie was betrayed. And my husband said back to me, you don't know that. We don't know anything yet. And I said, yeah, empirically, that argument fits. I get it. But no one can explain why or how I had this sense of dread in the very week leading up to Charlie's assassination. No one can offer why I knew that there was danger coming, specifically
It's a bathroom. There's a shower in there too.
that it was related to bees. Why the feeling was so overwhelming that I hired extra security and took my podcast off air and pulled my children out of school. I had never experienced a dread like that in my life, ever. No one also can explain or even offer an explanation as to how exactly it is that Charlie knew he was going to die young and that his death would specifically be related to Turning Point USA. He said he knew from the moment he signed on the dotted line that he was going to die young. What exactly is the expert explanation for that deep internal knowing that he had that has now been proven correct? I'll tell you, there isn't one. There isn't one. What Charlie sensed was obviously right. And the moment that Charlie was shot, I knew what happened to him was not random. Okay. He was betrayed. Charlie Kirk was the first casualty of the war in Iran. I'm certain of that. And it's deeper than that. I am now of the opinion that he was likely sacrificed. And I want to tell you why I got there. You guys know, if you're part of my book club, I've been doing a lot of research into Freemasonry. About a month ago, while we took a break to prepare for our Bride of Charlie series, someone sent me this. I'm showing you, this is what they sent me in the mail. Something that is known as a Freemason Bible. Now, I knew that these existed because of my studying Sigmund Freud and looking into the fact that he had inherited one from his father. The backstory of this one in particular came with a handwritten letter. Is that a 33rd degree Freemason out in Oklahoma died, and all of his belongings were left in a home that was eventually auctioned off. And the person who had this in his possession, his relative was the person who acquired the home. And they went in and they burned everything in it effectively, thinking that it was obviously just carrying bad spirits. But he, for some reason, had the sense that he should keep this one item. For no particular reason, he kept it in the back of his truck for over a decade. And when he saw me covering the history of Freemasonry and what they believe, trying to discern what it is that they believe, he felt that this was the reason that he had kept it all those years. So he just sent it to me to provide me further insight into what they believe and what they practice at the top of Freemasonry. This is not your granddad's Freemason lodge, okay? Oh, my dad was a lodge. It was just no, this is not that. That is not what 33rd degree Freemasonry is. So I flipped through this immediately after we did douse it in holy water. I flipped through it. And within the very first pages, there was a pentagram with various illustrations inside of it, notes around it. I'm going to show you that now. Just took a picture for it for you to see it there at the bottom. And in case you can't see what is pointing to the middle, it says place of sacrifice or worship. Okay. Place of sacrifice or worship in the middle there. So I want you to note that in this Freemason Bible, it illustrates that a sacrifice must be made in the center of a pentagon. It's a pentagon, 5 sides, like a house. And I thought, how curious that Charlie was indeed seated in the center of a pentagon when he was killed. Let me demonstrate that for you. You can see that right there. Again, it was my independent study into Sigmund Freud that led me to learning about B'nai B'rith, the Jewish Freemason group, who I believe have been running our country since at least the Civil War. I've done my best to consume and learn about what it is that they believe, what they practice. This is occult mysticism, okay? The satanic panic that happened was real. Children are being harmed. They have been harmed in occult ceremonies for a very long time. This is an ancient practice. And this is not to be confused with Judaism in any way. In fact, they rely on you confusing it. In no shape or form does this have anything to do with any of the monotheistic religions. Okay. Judaism is merely a mask that these pagan occultists wear, just like Christianity is one of the masks that they wear. The Star of David, as they term it, is in fact an occult symbol meant to represent King Solomon's ring. There is no way that you can avoid this. There's no way that they can try to rewrite history. It is quite literally known as the Seal of Solomon. I'm going to show you this. This is on Wikipedia. This is that accessible. We can read parts of this together. It reads, it is often depicted in the shape of either a hexagram or a pentagram. In mystic Jewish lore, the ring is variously described as having been given to Solomon, having given Solomon, pardon me, the power to command the supernatural. Due to the proverbial wisdom of Solomon, it came to be seen as an amulet or a talisman or a symbol or character in medieval magic and Renaissance magic, occultism, alchemy. Ladies and gentlemen, this is literal witchcraft. We cannot beat these people and we cannot win if we refuse to even recognize what it is that we are up against. We have to recognize what it is and who it is that we are up against. And again, it has nothing to do with Christianity. It's got nothing to do with Judaism. That is why, as is further stipulated on this Wikipedia page, the Seal of Solomon was once featured on the flag of Nigeria and the flag of Morocco. Those are not known to be Jewish countries. Freemasons worship Solomon as the master architect. They believe that he gave them the keys to build and therefore control societies. This is how you build, this is how you build a matrix, in effect, right? That is the reason why Aleister Crowley was pastor, cultist, created an entire religion around this, put together a series of books, a series of pentacles that are meant to summon various spirits. I want you to hear me when I say that they are intentionally summoning demons. First book he wrote was called The Book of Evil Spirits. Wow, look at that Star of David all over it. What do you mean this is not associated with Judaism? It's associated with Baal worship. I cannot stress this enough. That is what those in power practice. It is what they believe. It is ancient, it is occult, and it is magic. I believe that the manner of Charlie's death was also intended to cast a spell. That's the only thing I kept asking the question, why did they broadcast this? Making us watch Charlie die was diabolical. And although this priest that I'm about to show you is discussing Satanism more broadly, he's not saying this, to be clear, in the context of Charlie Kirk. I want you to take a listen to what he says. This is Father Ripperger. He's going to describe the nature of this sort of constant symbolism that's being used, this obsession with them almost having to reveal to us what they're doing, like wanting to get close to revealing to us what they're doing, and then gaslighting us. Take a listen.
Actually, the technical term that we tend to use for that is called the revealing of the method. I don't know if you've ever heard that.
I have.
Basically, it basically means that it can be connected to a curse. They could curse this so that it has a more so that its distribution becomes more extensive and more people watch the thing. But a lot of times, what that is that they. The thing about Satanists, and also even though it's occult in the fact that it's hidden, there's a side to diabolic psychology that even when they remain hidden, they still want to show themselves in some way. They're still going to reveal themselves in something. They can't help it. And it's the same thing you see. It's the same thing you see with Satanists. It's the same thing you see with Freemasons when they're involved in certain things. It's the same stuff you see across the board in these particular groups. And so they just tend to reveal stuff. But their hope is to, even in the revealing, that you don't know. There's a sadistic delight they get out of basically putting it to you without you even knowing it.
Yes, that is accurate. It is diabolical, and are clearly sadistic in what they are doing. And of course, there is an element of it they enjoy to gaslight you right after they do these sorts of things. That piece, by the way, about the symbolism, sort of overt and in your face, is also made clear in the very early pages of this quote unquote Freemason Bible. That symbolism is actually crucial. In fact, it's a science to them. You're not imagining things. Right here at the top, it states this again from this quote unquote Freemason Bible. It reads, it has been correctly stated that symbolism constitutes the very essence of Freemasonry. Freemasonry is essentially the science of symbolism. Further down, it offers us a section entitled The Science of Symbolism Explained. It reads, a symbol or an emblem is an occult representation of something unknown or concealed by a sign or a thing that is known. So something you recognize kind of carrying different meaning. And it gives us some examples. Incredibly, you wouldn't believe me if I didn't show it to you. It gives the example of a square. Square is in Freemasonry an emblem or a symbol of morality. Plumb line, the symbol of
A square.
and the
A nerd.
symbol of industry. Yes, they do communicate to one another using symbols, as I have maintained from the very beginning, by the way. Cash Patel continually stressing 33 hours was not random. It did not feel subtle. It seemed to me and to many others that was some sort of signaling. 33, 33, everyone was just saying 33 all the time. So, to the routinely gaslit public, I would like to validate your every instinct, most especially about the subsequent behavior of Turning Point USA as an organization, behavior that looked to us as though it was diabolical. There was apparently, sadly for them, not enough empiricism, rationality, or spell casting in the universe to override our sense that something was and is deeply wrong. Deeply, okay? Deeply wrong. What did they give us? The horrific murder of a man, followed by the joyful coronation of his wife, who is now inviting his enemies onto the very ship that he built. Spiritual ick is what we felt. Okay. Words have meaning. They sent out their broadcasters effectively to cast something more broadly to the public. What they cast was, she's a grieving widow. That's what Charlie would have wanted. 6 feet social distancing. To what end, though? To what end? I believe it's pretty obvious now. There was an ultimate goal of raising Erica's political profile as a potential presidential candidate down the line. Actually, that was explicitly and almost immediately seated by her dear friend and part-time homosexual deviant Tyler Boyer, who she can't remember how she met. Take a listen to what he said a mere 12 days after Charlie's assassination.
Do you see politics in her future down the road?
Yeah, it's funny. I had conversations with Charlie about that. So he was like, "Man, Erica could be so much bigger and better than me at almost everything." We laugh all the time about because people were like, was going to be president someday. He believed firmly that Erica was going to be president someday.
Yep. The guy who wanted his wife at home with babies.
Again, them telling us the private conversations were the exact opposite of everything that Charlie was saying publicly. Women, get married, have children, have lots of children, stay home. That's more important. In the days leading up, Erica said she stayed back because Charlie said home needs you. That's why she didn't go to the September 10th event. They were just on a tour. Charlie was just every day telling people that family's the most important thing. But privately, when he sat down with Tyler Boyer, he was like, Erica's going to be president. That's what I want for my wife. I want her to be president and to be also the CEO and chairman in the event of my death. And, he wasn't the only one. You got to go backward to really realize how deranged everything was. Here is Frank Turek on October 7th, just 3 weeks following Charlie's assassination. Take a listen.
I used to say to him, the ticket in 2028 is going to be Vance Kirk. And I said, I don't know if you want to take it because I don't think you're going to have the same effect as the president of Turning Point USA. But you know what? Between you and me and our listeners, I'm not giving up on the Vance Kirk ticket.
Well, no.
That's why Erica Kirk was filmed hugging J.D. Vance like that.
Erica would be an amazing president someday.
Why would she?
That, my friends, would be an example of a Father Ripplinger described diabolical psychology. Like, oh, Charlie was going to be the president, but you know what? It was Vance Kirk is what we were hoping for, but now he's gone. I just realized we don't have to let go of that hope because there's still a Kirk.
Why is my allergies acting up?
Be really beautiful and exciting. Could be what Charlie would in the end.
Laundry smells so
Of
good.
course, here is the very and always excited Mikey McCoy echoing that sentiment. Take a listen.
He left behind these blueprints for her, and just
Good for you.
yeah, there you go.
Good for you, Mikey.
Yeah, and
Go ahead.
yeah, we don't really ever know what the outcome's going to be. I definitely thought maybe there would be a Vance Kirk ticket. Maybe there still will be a Vance Kirk ticket.
Beautiful. Just beautiful, isn't it? Who could deny this sort of a destiny? Erica being the president in her husband's place, and they're smiling and they're laughing about that plausibility. And we're never going to see those blueprints, guys. But they did say to Mikey McCoy, my 21-year-old person who didn't, I have no idea how he got his job as chief of staff. But these blueprints are for you. I didn't responsibly give them to someone that was running my estate, lawyers. No, I wanted to leave these for you and to Erica because I don't know, she just would understand these blueprints. With everything that I have thus far uncovered about Erica, I do believe that that was her ultimate goal, the White House. I think Elizabeth Lane read Erica correctly when she posited that she may be a psychopath because, in my opinion, only a psychopath could, after her husband's public assassination, offer a raise to Dan Flood, the security guard who failed Charlie in every possible manner and way on September 10th. Only a psychopath who does not experience human emotions in the way that humans experience them would be capable of offering and then giving an in-home interview to the New York Times in the immediate days following her husband's assassination. The New York Times, a publication who her husband hated. And would then tell that journalist that the least traumatizing part was the idea of raising her children without a father. Okay? A psychopath is the best answer that I can come up with for why she felt compelled to go into the office the same week and to bring her kids every day rather than tending to their every emotional need at home as they come to the realization that they will never see their father ever again. A psychopath is my best explanation. My best explanation for why she told Jesse Waters that she had zero fear. None at all. No, she wasn't scared to walk out the door the very next day with her kids in tow. I think nearly everyone in the world felt a little less safe in the days following Charlie's assassination, but not his wife, Erica Kirk. No. Mm-mm. Erica lies pathologically, and the media is trying to tell us that it's perfectly understandable, relatable even. It's actually divine. She lies because she's so godly that she forgave the person who allegedly murdered her husband before she even saw evidence of his guilt. And despite an overwhelming amount of evidence mounting to the contrary, Erica is so godly that she even helped to validate the implausible parts of the narrative regarding Tyler Robinson. The implausible parts, like the neck stopping at 30-6 court. She came up and crafted the Superman steel neck and all. No questions did she have, just faith, deep faith, and lies, a lot of lies. And to be sure, whatever the attempt was with Erica, pay attention to me, media. It has failed categorically, so stop it. Okay, all of your little media spells are failing as of late because we've recognized that they are very easily defeated by truth, loud truth. And more people are daring to speak it. More and more people are feeling inspired by Tucker Carlson to stand up and to recognize what it is we are fighting in this world. True evil, old school, ancient evil. We even have comedians that are daring to make jokes about the obvious. The obvious. Like Tim Dillon. Take a listen.
You know, you look at the Kirk thing, right? Remember that? You look at that and you try to zoom out and go, all right,
Okay, so we got
on its face, we don't
vacuum here a little bit.
furry the furry's boyfriend, they think, okay,
And we'll
then we
vacuum
feel
it.
something up with the wife. The organization's weird. Something's up with them. 3 weeks after the guy's dead, she's out there with sparklers, and they're doing Cirque du Soleil. Something's off. Something's weird. Now we find out, like, the wife it's beyond weird. It's creepy. There's a very good chance that this woman was his handler, that he was this powerful young guy who raised a lot of money for a lot of people and took a lot of money from a lot of people, and money's never free. So you think about it, you say you have this. How do you direct a guy like that who's incredibly important? He's running the largest young voter, registration organization. He's handling large sums of money. He's out there sculpting narrative as it regards to domestic and foreign policy. So you have a handler who comes in. She may have loved him. I'm sure she loved him. Why wouldn't a handler love her husband? Because even though she was his Mossad handler and probably had him killed, no marriage is perfect. None. Not one. No marriage is perfect. Truly. No marriage is perfect. There's no marriage that is perfect. She may have been his handler, and they came to her one day and said, he found out you're his handler. Or she might have told them, she might have said, listen, we got problems. This guy, I'm not the only one saying this, don't kill me. I'm saying, we're not breaking news here. We're not breaking ground. We're reviewing. We're analyzing. We're like, fuck, ball.
Okay.
He said, we got bad news here. This guy found all the laundered money, and now he knows I'm his handler.
Nope.
He thinks
No, Candace Owens sounds nutty because when there's a bajillion facts that line up, it sounds all over the place. But that's kind of that's the design, is to make people seem crazy when they tell the truth. The truth is so convoluted that when you tell the truth, you sound like a lunatic.
Then what kind of
But that's by design.
That's
100% by design.
Is absolutely nothing that we're being told is reasonable whatsoever. It doesn't make any sense. We are very quickly arriving at a moment. By the way, I noted cover producer that spent you guys on YouTube got cut off in the first 4 minutes of the show. Just to let you know, we are speaking about people who were having a panic and meltdown on X because of Tucker Carlson's tweets. Uh, very simple tweet. He said, "Pray the spell breaks and the world is saved." What I am positing is the reason why they are so triggered is because of the word spell, which implies witchcraft, which implies the occult. And that is what this is. That is the moment that we are arriving in, is that we need to wake up to what it is that the people at the top believe. What is their guiding theology that keeps us constantly embedded in wars in foreign territories, constantly murdering children, looking the other way when children are being harmed? This brings me to President Trump, who has actually transformed into the longest running joke. Didn't take for me Charlie Kirk's death to wake up to what he was very fast becoming and what he now is. And I will have a lot to say to him, a lot to say about him when we get back from this quick break. All right, you guys, some major news for the silver market. The United States has officially added silver to its
You guys just wait till you fucking see the house that I'm about to be housing at in 2 weeks. Holy shit.
Israel requires constant blood sacrifice. The obstacle of Charlie Kirk was that they moved, and now where are we? Right? The United States is preemptively bombing Iran, and the explanation that we are receiving is because
Before we hit them, we would suffer much.
Things of that nature. Just don't understand how the logic is Israel can't stop bombing people, so we have to bomb people for them. That's what he's telling you. And that's what we're doing. We just murdered 150 Iranian schoolgirls between the ages of 7 and 12 preemptively. Don't worry, guys, it was preemptive because Israel was probably going to bomb them and kill them, so we went ahead and did that for them. So long as you say preemptively, it makes it okay. Don't even think further. How much peace can we really take? It's just too much peace. They always say too much winning. It's like too much peace. Let's actually take a look at some live footage of the peace that we are currently spreading in the Middle East. Preemptive peace. That I can explain it. Looks like peace. Already a my it makes him a traitor. It also makes him a coward. And you would do well to accept that fact. Okay, stop playing left or right. Stop saying it would have been different if a Democrat was in office. Stop playing Republican or Democrat. Wake up. These people occupy both sides. And I believe very much that world wars are in effect global resets. That's why they always want them. They use propaganda to convince people to sign up for their own slaughter. Something that lives in my mind rent free is Norm Finkelstein informing me that Israel had a literal and actual government policy known as mowing the lawn in Gaza, where the IDF would just at random begin shooting and killing Palestinians to ensure the population didn't grow. Just like, oh, no, too much population. This is, to me, when I see everything going on right now, and there being no reason but like an insistence that we all have to just get ready for Armageddon, this feels to me like an opportunity to simply mow the lawn of people that stand against them. Population control has always been the aim, whether it's by vaccines, abortion propaganda, my body, my choice. Wake up. Like I said, left or right, it's the same end. It's the same thing that they are barreling towards. They want you to agree to murder their offspring or yourself. Sign up for war. Here's some propaganda. You're going into the Middle East. There's no plan. There's going to be no end in sight. But man, could you imagine afterwards? It might even give your Purple Heart. Will be able to receive it. Just as was stipulated, by the way, for those of us who are making our way through the Jeffrey Epstein files, effectively having conversations openly about how in the future people won't even be able to reproduce on their own. That's their ultimate desire to control birth and to control death. They want to be gods on earth. That's what they want to be. They see themselves as all we need to do is control earth and control death. And then we control everything. And make no mistake, Trump will, if they tell him to, at the behest of Bibi or Miriam Adelson, send your sons and daughters to die for Israel. Israel expects that. Okay? They look at the Goyim and they say, that's ours. That those are our cattle. They're already signaling that they're keeping their options open regarding whether they will need boots on the ground. Here is Israel's defense minister, Benny Gantz, discussing that he's not going to exclude that need. Take a listen.
We have 180,000 Revolutionary Guard, almost 1 million besieged, 2 million reservists who are besieged. They are the ones with the guns. Even if this campaign goes on for 4 to 5 weeks, is it fair to expect unarmed civilians to come out and take over their government?
Well, it's a very complicated situation over there, but I suggest we take it one step at a time. Currently, we are neutralizing Iran's command and control system and Iran's capacity to influence the region, and we'll see what comes next. I think we have to be very decisive on this. We must maintain operational offensive continuity to assess where are we all the time and then to take the decisions.
Do you think eventually there'll be a need for boots on the ground?
I would not exclude it for those reasons or other, but we'll have to see how it goes.
And will that include Israeli boots on the ground, do you think?
Exclude nothing. We've been waiting for 47 years, and we came to a point that every necessary means should be taken in order to achieve our goals.
Which is amazing. I love the follow-up question. Like, is that going to include Israeli boots on the ground? Like, it's implied that it's not Israeli boots on the ground. And the follow-up's like, oh, okay, if you do it, are you gonna also include Israeli boots on the ground? And the next same day, we have Caroline Levitt signaling that a draft is not off the table because Trump is smart. Take a listen.
And the president had an interesting exchange on Air Force One over the weekend, Carol. I want to get your take about this idea of troops on the ground. Mothers out there are worried that we're going to have a draft, that they're going to see their sons get in and daughters get involved in this. What do you want to say about the president's plans for troops on the ground? As we know, it's been largely an air campaign up until now. It has been, and it will continue to be. And President Trump wisely does not remove options off of the table. I know a lot of politicians like to do that quickly, but the president, as commander in chief, wants to continue to assess the success of this military operation. It's not part of the current plan right now, but the president, again, wisely keeps his options on the table. But as commander in chief, there's no greater priority or responsibility to this president than, of course, protecting the American people and protecting our troops and our bases in the Middle East, which Iran has been threatening.
Our troops in the Middle East, who they abandoned?
Killed and maimed thousands of American soldiers, and President Trump was not going to allow.
Oh, well, if you could find a way to get back to the United States, you should do that.
It's the Middle East first, and that's why he took this historic action by launching Operation Epic Fury.
That's right.
Epstein
No
Fury.
allows Israel to do that. Only
Immigration. Epstein Fury.
only Israel got away with the Levant affair. Only Israel is allowed to get away with what they did at the USS Liberty. That is a right reserved for Israel.
The Levant affair is that thing that happened at the
People
that
that
I was talking about years ago, a couple of years ago.
3,000 years ago. I say the
saying
question is not if.
Israel is the first person to commit the modern terror.
Oh no, it's just going to be poured out. Just Operation Midnight Hammer. That's it. Now it's suddenly, oh no, we need to do a little bit more preemptively. Now it's, oh, the options are still maybe kind of on the table, but like it's smart for him to keep his options on the table. That sounds to me like the question is not if, but when. Not if, but when that option is going to be executed. I think it's actually a crucial part of their plan because it's time to mow the lawn. That's why Israel supporters like Bill Ackman went rabid over the weekend over me suggesting that maybe military men shouldn't sign up. Maybe you shouldn't sign up to join the military in America if this is the circumstance that we live in. Yeah, they want me imprisoned for merely mentioning that no one at this juncture should join the American military. Bill was retweeting people who were stipulating that it's actually a federal crime to tell people apparently not to sign up for the military. Why is that? Why do you think they're retweeting that? Why does the idea of Goyim not serving have them so stressed out? I mean, it's been them, they're the ones saying that every poll shows that Americans overwhelmingly support action in Iran. It's so overwhelming that they support what's happening in Iran, right? Americans
Thanks for your subscription.
They hate Megyn Kelly, they hate Candace Owens, and they love Israel so much. Please take our tax dollars. Please, we just did this operation in Venezuela. You take the oil. No, you take everything. You guys get free healthcare. I'm giving you guys an opportunity to prove how honest you are.
So
how
much firewood there is.
has. May you be hoisted on your own tarred, shapeless property. In the meantime, I would like to reiterate my point. No American son or daughter should die for Israel. But no American son or daughter should die for Israel.
Noise.
Go find the legal means.
Yay, I don't have to do firewood.
Are legal means you can exit the military. You can, in fact, conscientiously object to military service. Military men, you should know, swear an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States of America. Really see that happening right now. I don't even see Trump doing that. His flagrant violations of free speech, freedom of religion. Trump recently firing Carrie Preaching Bowler from the Religious Committee because Zionists didn't like Catholic perspectives. Can anybody at all meaningfully point out to me which specific portion of the Constitution our commander in chief is currently doing a good job protecting? What is it? What is he done? You'll be like, oh yeah, he is the person who's defending our Constitution. Better yet, show me which guaranteed constitutional right you believe that Trump will not violate for Israel. Can you point to one? Because I feel like right now we are all being forced into the servitude of a foreign nation. That seems to be the American reality right now. So I say, by all means, allow the Mark Levins, the Ben Shapiros to sign their offspring up instead. Allow the Christian Zionists, the ones who make videos telling you how devilish it is if you don't support Israel. They believe this is messianic, that Bibi was sent to usher in Armageddon. That's going to bring Jesus back. I urge you, all of you Christian Zionists, sign up for the military today. Please, you guys, stop tweeting. Stop screaming about Tucker Carlson. You have something much more important to do. There's a messianic mission right now. Go to Iran. Go remove the thousands of dead, innocent Palestinian children from beneath the rubble in Gaza that Trump can build his hotel. I want you guys to be the change that you wish to see in the world. You've got this. Allow the Goyim to stand down because you guys have the vision. You have the understanding. It's biblical. Go for it. You can do this without us. We'll be right back after a break. All right, you guys, way before the food industry failed us and started making low quality foods and hiding behind nutrition labels, one thing was always true. Organic fruits and vegetables are the superfoods that your body needs. Fast food tastes great for like 20 seconds. The junk and inflammation that follows is trashing your system. It keeps you tired and weak. That's why you need to check out fieldofgreens.com. Field of Greens is 100% organic fruits and vegetables that are dehydrated and ground into a fine powder. Every ingredient was selected to support critical functions throughout your body, like your liver, kidneys, heart, and lungs. It is the easiest health upgrade that you will make. Just one scoop a day, and you'll feel the difference. Field of Greens promises your doctor will notice your improved health, or you'll get your money back. Get 20% off using promo code Candace at checkout when you visit fieldofgreens.com today. That's fieldofgreens.com with promo code Candace at checkout. Also, I remind you guys about American financing because have you looked at your credit card statements lately? You are working 40, 50 hours a week just to buy groceries and gas, things that you used to be able to afford. The banks are charging you over 20% interest for the privilege. Think about that. It's designed to keep you underwater. American financing is doing something that these big banks hate. They are actually helping people. They have mortgage rates that are in the fives, and they are showing homeowners how to take their hard-earned equity to wipe out that high interest debt. The average savings is $800 a month, so talk to one of their salary-based mortgage consultants. No upfront fees and no obligations to see how much you could be saving. And if you start today, you could delay 2 mortgage payments. So call American Financing today at 800-795-1210. Again, that's 800-795-1210, or visit americanfinancing.net/Owens. That's americanfinancing.net/Owens. All right, we're going to get to some of your comments. Stevie, this was, I think, our top comment from the last episode. Stevie wrote, Erica was telling the truth about being at a job interview. It's just that Charlie was the job. Yes, we will have more on that for you guys tomorrow as we get into her Charlie years. Laura Evelyn writes, calling yourself a sole provider, referring to Erica, when you are sitting on tens of millions of dollars that you didn't earn is a gold strategy. It is, there is no strategy. Like she's basically on autopilot and, I just have no words for everything that we have seen transpire. And I hope that what you take away from this episode is that this is gaslighting on a scale so epic. But I asked my husband meaningfully this weekend, we went to get something to eat, and I just said, how much more are they going to twist the fabric of reality? I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen like them pretending like 99% of people support something that they just so obviously do not support, and they just do it. You could do a poll right now, anywhere, X, Facebook. Everybody loves it. They're just releasing bots, fake people on the internet to pretend that this is being supported. That people just love war. They just love dead children in the Middle East. It's just made up. We all know they're lying. They know that we know that they're lying. That's why they're angry. If they were actually winning, they wouldn't be angry. No one was angry during the Obama years because we all generally were still a bit sleepy, whether you were left or right. We were all generally a bit sleepy, and we thought that America was to some degree doing the right thing. We're not existing under that anymore. We've awakened to what they're doing. The power. It's really funny to take a look at what Israel has done. They don't realize that the power that they had over America did not exist in the money. It didn't exist in blackmail. That's again, blackmail a bunch of politicians. You get them caught doing weird things on camera. I mean, they have. I imagine whenever they have on Lindsey Graham is so far beyond. It's like it's got to be disgusting. That's how I feel. Just leave that for a minute. Love walking around with no litter touching me on my feet. All right. Okay, so what? Fill up this.
Dun, 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 dun. Hmm? Better hurt the kitty butt. I just heard something else. Okay, there's nothing of mine here. All the lights are off up there. Nothing of mine here. Nothing of mine there. Do 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 do. There's still stuff of mine here. 9 minutes, and then I can switch over the stuff that's in the. Yay, it's dry. I was hoping. Now I can hang up towels in here. There's the washcloth that goes with this right there. And this goes. This goes. And this goes upstairs. Whoa. I'm rewashing the rags that I was washing earlier because they smelled a little like they sat in the dirty rag bag for days. They went sour, so I couldn't, in good conscience, just leave it like that. It smelled not great. Hand towels clean. Bigger. This behind this for the kitty. She thinks that's good for me for not making her bed. Okay, everything is done. Everything is done. Everything is done. Couch looks really good. Her chair is ready for her to go. 6 minutes till that's done. And then I can get all of my stuff out of the bathroom, which would be the last of my stuff. That's any house. So like it's here. I have a bus, but this is not my place. I have been house sitting here for the last month and a half. Oops, almost ready. Do the hand towels in the bathroom downstairs. Easier to carry. Where's my blue bag? Brush. Magic bar.
The way that he acts, it's like manic almost in support of Israel. Randy Fine, I would say the same thing about. But that wasn't the power that Israel held. The power was in the illusion. The power was in the millions of Americans, the majority of us thinking and believing that Israel was innocent, believing that Israel was just a tiny country in the Middle East, believing that they had never done anything to anybody. And then they bet all that. They bet all that power. They said, you know what? Now we've got money. Now we are controlling the troops. Now we are, which we've been doing for decades. We've got the military. We've got the presidency. We've got all this stuff. So now we don't even care. We're gonna go mask down. No, the mask down. No, you need to get your mask up. So this is the problem that they have, and this is why they're angry because they recognize entire generations no longer believe them. Nobody believes in the innocence of Israel anymore. People are looking up and understanding how much we have been lied to. People are pulling their kids out of school so that they don't suffer that same ignorance that we suffered for a very long time. I'm speaking
The ADHD students are not the propagandized ones because we were staring into space all day at school.
And really believe that this is just going to be a small little strategy. Yeah, give it to Iran. No, we're not falling for it. We're not falling for Russia. Russia's our biggest enemy. It's always the Middle East, it's always the Muslims. We're away from that. And so I think that is what they really messed up. They messed up in underestimating how much the illusion mattered. Anyway, Curious Joel writes, JFK and Charlie Kirk's assassinations were examples of domestic regime change. I include CK because Turning Point USA was a military organization operating half of the United States and Philadelphia. Maybe we wouldn't be so fond of regime change wars if we fully knew that it happened to us too. I mean, the fact that they were, when they sent me that cease and desist, they wrote for saying that Turning Point is militarily got infiltrated. Everybody's in the military. I'm sorry I pointed out background of these pastors and Turning Point Faith and Erica's mother. It just seems like a lot of military people arrived very quickly. That's all I'm saying. Sorry for noticing. TJ Kurt writes, thank you for highlighting the fact that many of us gave thousands of dollars through Give Send Go so that Erica could stay at home with her babies. While I'm waiting forever for my thank you note, she says it's not enough, so she will still need to work to support them. It is maximum ingratitude. Yeah, it is maximum ingratitude. And I could have gone over and over in terms of how much money was given to her. I think someone pointed out that I even missed that Elon Musk donated money to them. So no, there is no reason that Erica needs to be at the office every day. That doesn't make any sense. She did not need to become the CEO. She's not honoring her husband. We can hear her husband's words of what he wanted, what his vision was for his children. It is impossible to be a sole provider or to be the sole parent and for those kids to grow up with the influence that they need. Having a parent home while you're being busy being the CEO and chairman of an alleged now $1 billion company. I mean, again, they think we have no common sense. Like you really can't just a single mom and somehow run an organization and say, no, my children are happy because they're at the office. They're at the office. This is exactly what toddlers love to be. They love to just be running around an office. Intuition Gen writes, Candace, great job. Kabbalah, Satanism, there are many commonalities. Yes, there is indeed. They are attempting to bring their Messiah back. Who is that exactly? We don't know, but we know. Yeah, I mean, we are looking at the synagogue of Satan. There's no question. I mean, look up the amount of blood sacrifice this requires. How could anybody be under any delusions? It's very clear what they want and what they are willing to do to get it. That's more important. What they are willing to do to get it. And this is why you have to learn about Frankism. You got to learn about Jacob Frank. You have to learn that similarly, you have this movement of people similar to the Christian Zionists that are like unhinged, looking at Paula White, the pastors that are surrounding Trump, that they believed in this messianic mission. And what was he? He was a mentally disturbed psychopath, is what Jacob Frank was. And they followed him anyway. Thought he was a messiah. That's what I see when I look at the people who are unflinchingly following Bibi Netanyahu, who can look at what happened in Gaza and go, this was by God's design. Who is the God that you are referring to? What God requires sacrifice of children in that manner? Least of all for a hotel, for property that was promised to a lot of these pastors, by the way, property in Gaza. They've already got like homes that are promised to them to convince their churches to support this, just so you know. D. Shaw writes, look into the Hellfire Club if you have not already. I have. Yes, I need to join your book club. Yes, we are constantly talking about Freemasonry. Hellfire Club, that actually gets into, because they visited Paris. I mean, it's France is problematic for a ton of reasons, but I believe the Hellfire Club was in England. If I remember correctly, it was either an Oxford club or Cambridge club. I'm aware of it though. Dr. Tom Najar writes, I want your honest opinion. How do you feel about rooting for Trump during the elections? Do you feel some responsibility for the chaos we are in? People make mistakes, and I understand, but how didn't you see this coming? This is even the way you're setting up this question implies that like the other option would have been better. Like you had two options. You had Kamala, who absolutely nobody voted for. I mean, do you think that Biden was running the White House? Who do you think was running the White House? Biden couldn't even form a sentence. It is the same apparatus that was running the White House when Biden was in office that would have continued running it, had Kamala run, that is running it now, that Trump is running. That's the way that I see things. And I don't know, has Trump grown almost erratic in the manner in which he's gaslighting us? Yeah, I definitely did not foresee that Epstein moment coming. You know, I was not the person. I spent time explaining to people that Kamala was what she said she was. She was completely lying about her past, completely lying about her history. And I did the Kamala Chronicles. But I've been off that like hardcore MAGA train for a while, actually. Obviously, I think that the thing that does let me down the most, that has been so shocking to me, is to have survived the assassination attempt. What he is dedicating the rest of his time to is destroying America for Israel. Like, you survive multiple assassination attempts, and your instinct is, what are they telling you? You survived it so that you could do more for Israel. I can't even comprehend what is going on. And yeah, it sucks. It absolutely sucks. And I think a lot of people right now just feel completely duped. Completely duped. But if there's one thing that I'm grateful for, it's that I do believe the left and the right are coming to this understanding that they always pretend it's either or. And it's not. It's not either or. We lose every single time. They have found different ways to move us toward constantly putting more power over to them. It's just how they argue it, how they argue to get us to that thing. Left versus right. Mama C writes, during Charlie's memorial, my husband saw Tyler Boyer and said, we need to remember that guy. Turning Point has emotionally manipulated too many into thinking that these are decent, God-fearing people, when it's clear that they are not. Actually, I'll tell you that I have it on very good authority that they have had to cancel events that Erica was intended to speak at because there has been a backlash. There's been a backlash, and there should be a backlash when you are not being told the truth and you're being lied to, and the lies seem to be pathological, small lies, big lies. You should not welcome that, and you least of all should welcome this emotional manipulation that comes with, well, you kind of have to accept the lies that you're being told because her husband was Charlie Kirk. That's her Charlie. That is absolutely ridiculous. Intuition Jen writes, oh, sorry, I already read that. Amy Loves Music writes, thank you. I'm not going to lie. Charlie was one of the reasons that I voted for Trump. Do I think that he was better than Kamala? Yes. But an independent artist named Ren called it choosing between calamities or herpes. God bless you, Candace. Stay safe. I'm chill. Just ask me a question. But if Erica and Vance have a ticket, they won't get my vote, if that even matters. Yeah, I don't think, I think anything that Erica is on or involved in, unless she does a mask down, sit down, tell the truth, sort of interview, no holds bar. That's the only way I can imagine. Here's my phone. Here's Charlie's phone, and maybe stop saying Shabbat Shalom. That's the only way I could see that there would be a chance for her to do anything. But yeah, do anything in the future in politics. But the good chances of that are effectively 0%. Anyway, lastly, Ahmed writes, awesome work, Candice. Thank you for speaking truth. I'm going to remind you guys, if you'd like to support us speaking truth, you can head to our website, candiceowens.com. We have tons of merch on the website. It's our easiest way to support us and to support just independent voices. There aren't too many. Actually, there are a lot now that are getting, but I mean, there aren't too many in the mainstream media organ that are willing to tell the truth. We know that's true. And that's why I always say, make sure you're praying for Megyn Kelly. They've been attacking her really hard. Praying for Tucker because he is bringing up these very same topics. And this really gets to the belly of the beast. It really does. That's what we're looking at. Anyway, guys, that's all we have for you today. I'm sorry, by the way, if you're on YouTube and the first few minutes of the show got cut off. We will try to upload it later. Anyway, we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Megan Ryan did not have Justin on their minds while attending a soccer game in Great Britain on Saturday because they were too busy sucking face.
Okay, let's go and put away some towels. Switch over to this fucking rag. Of course. It's so fresh and so clean. That's better. Now I can clean houses with these rags again. Not when they're stinky. We just needed a good sanitization. You motherfucker. Damn, now I kind of want to fucking take a shower. Lame.
More action to their life and to their story. The Daily Mail said that heartbroken Blake Lively cuts a downcast figure and consoles Wrexham star after Ryan Reynolds' team were knocked out of a following thrilling Flash with Premier League by Chelsea. It's interesting that she's so heartbroken that they lost, and then she posted on social media on her Instagram story. She posted, "What a game and a heart." And her and Ryan on the soccer field. And guess what? Ryan reposted it. It's the first time in a very long time that they have posted in any photos together or they've showed any love to it for each other in public. Do you know Ryan did not show up for Blake in court during that settlement meeting a couple of weeks ago? But now she flew all the way to Wales to be there for her husband. This is what we call man control. People have been speculating now for a long time. It's Ryan. It's not
Okay.
supporting his wife anymore. So of course, this is just a reminder to everyone that yes, he does. He
Feedback.
good
Yep.
husband. It looks like from the photos.
Things put away.
Or
Start this lesson.
basically engaged.
No, there's not enough stuff in there. Let me make her a list on the thing.
Email explaining here saying that Reynolds could be seen giving Lively a kiss while she wrapped her arms around his waist as they watched from a private box with Wrexham taking the lead twice to give the underdogs hope. They also mentioned that Ryan's partner, Matt Robb, flew in private for the events, which I find kind of amusing since, as you know, Ryan went to the UN, I think last year in March 2025. He went to the UN and he signed UN football for the Goals Initiative, meaning that he is committed to promote sustainability. Just 4 days before he signed that at the UN, the Wrexham chartered a 37-minute flight, meaning they could have just gotten a car to drive somewhere, but they flew instead, which you know is the worst thing for the environment, especially a private jet. And I'm guessing that if Rob Matt flew private, I'm sure that Blake Lively also flew private. Anyways, a little side note there. Let's see what TMC said about this. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds pack on the PDA during soccer match. Dot dot dot. Justin Baldoni, who? Like, oh, we don't talk about him at all. We're just so in love watching soccer. Justin Baldoni. Who writes these headlines? Anyway, it says here Blake and Ryan did not have Justin on their minds while attending a soccer game in Great Britain on Saturday because they were too busy sucking face. I'm sorry, sucking face. Did they ask for permission?
All right, y'all. See you
By
later.
the people who
I'm gonna go home.